As Ronald Reagan so famously said in his first inaugural speech as governor, quote, "Freedom is a fragile thing and is never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. Those who have known freedom and then lost it have never known it again." That's a powerful reminder that liberty and the understanding of tyranny isn't genetic. It's taught. It's learned. And with this in mind, we have something special in store for you today. In studio joining me for this episode of the Glenn Beck program are 50 young conservative activists. You will never see anything like this on mainstream media because they want to pretend that young conservatives don't exist, that conservatism is a political ideology patented by Denny's eating blue hairs. Not so. Everyone in this room is a young conservative, the future of the conservative movement. The people who will pick up the torch and carry on when the elder among us can no longer bear the weight. Everyone here understands that freedom once lost can never be recovered. They understand that we are at a crossroads. One choice is America the way our framers intended, a government scared by its people into good stewardship of the smallest amount of power and purse. The other choice is what you see on the streets of an Occupy march. Children revolting that their Uncle Sam has not given them enough. Fellow Americans who don't understand that if you rob from the rich to give to the poor, you're not only still robbing someone, but you're aiding in the suppression of the poor's potential. One choice guarantees you freedom of government intervention in your speech, your religion, your assembly, your press, effects. One grants you due process and doesn't impede petition for redress of your grievances. The other choice? It's Rahm Emanuel, Mayor Mumbling Menino, and this Philly councilman who will shutter businesses unless the litmus test of belief is passed. A choice that removes your Fourth Amendment right upon travel. A choice that demolishes the 10th Amendment soft sovereignty of individual states. A choice that makes you financially responsible for your neighbor while denying you input into the decisions that affect your cost. My generation, our generation, has been told since birth that the Democrat Party was the party of the youth, the party for the youth. Progressivism is tolerant, they said. Open-minded, they said. How tolerant? How open-minded? Check out this latest video taken by Ann Sirach at Legal Insurrection. The Occupy movement, a.k.a. the 1960s 2.0, mocks a homeless man sitting outside of a Chick-fil-A reading his Bible. Watch this.
I am tired of your hypocrisy, sir. I am tired of the hypocrisy coming out of these books.
Call new names. I didn't call them.
Does that ideology look attractive? What a quiet strength that man has, by the way. Democrats have promised the youth an easier life with cradle-to-grave care, the ultimate nanny experience. Those of you under age 26 can stay on your parents' insurance until you're 26 years of age. Back in the olden days, it was beyond embarrassing to be a 26-year-old adult who lived at home and depended upon their parents. Before I was married, I could never envision myself seriously dating a dude who lived at home with his parents. It was gross. Now it's accepted. Leftist fiscal policy has made it to where every child born into this country is born into servitude. An individual's share of our massive debt runs to about over $50,000 per person. This is why, according to recent studies, most Americans work on average of half the year to pay the government before they pay themselves. Leftist ideology has made it to where, according to a recent study from the Associated Press, 1 out of 2 college grads can't find a job. We buy the hard sell that college is for everyone. Everybody has to go to college, and trade and tech schools are just not good enough. So we go into debt to pay for an education that can't be used after graduation because no one's hiring. And why is no one hiring? Businesses can't plan ahead because Congress fights over whether or not they're going to increase taxes on job creators. My friend Glenn Reynolds of Instapundit, a professor of law from Knoxville, who we spoke to on this program just a couple of months ago, he wrote about the higher education bubble and how the cost of education increases while the rate of return decreases. The only answer the administration has given us is a quick and idiotic fix. Democrats tried to make the case that they were for the youth by artificially lowering the interest rates on student loans for 1 year, which would have to be subsidized by a decade of higher taxes on businesses that file as S-corps. Sounds like a dream, right? Some magical sounding S-corp thing pays for like 10 years, while students get 1 year of lower rates. It's not much of a trade-off, but oh well. Oh well, until you realize that the reason 1 out of 2 college grads can't find a job is because businesses lack the capital to hire them. Businesses like the majority of businesses that file as S-corps. I don't expect for President Obama to understand this. He's never worked a day of his life in the private sector. Every job he's ever had has been a publicly subsidized job. And it was through this lens that Democrats attempted to reach the youth with their faceless composite freak, Julia. Julia is the Democrats' dream woman, a faceless creation with no mouth and no voice. Did you notice something else about Julia? Other than she was apparently a federal conception with no parents, she had no husband, and Barack Obama was the president for the duration of her life? Her entire existence was provided for by the government. There's no freedom in that. Our generation, we crave freedom. I've said it before, we are the true counterculture. We are like salmon swimming upstream. We recognize the danger in ceding liberty for convenience. The hand that feeds you is the hand that holds you down. And instead of defecating on cop cars in the street, we're taking the fight right to Congress's doorstep. And this is one of the reasons that media has tried so hard to paint the Tea Party, to paint the grassroots movement as being old and out of touch. Their entire narrative is destroyed the moment they recognize how youth-led it truly is. We're living proof that liberty sells. We don't want to be the generation that loses that freedom. So we're giving it all we've got. And